Has Israel finally pulled back the curtain on Khamenei's so-called doomsday bunker, revealing where Iran's supreme leader planned to ride out a final war? With Mossad now mapping out his secret war bunker hideout in graphics and animations, how deep did Khamenei's underground command network really run beneath Tehran? A lift, stairwells and buried war rooms. Was this the last underground command center from which Khamenei meant to direct Iran's battles against the US and Israel? If it took 50 jets and around 100 bombs to obliterate one bunker site, what does that say about how seriously Israel viewed the threat hidden under central Tehran? If Mossad is right that this bunker spanned multiple Tehran streets, riddled with secret entrances and meeting rooms, how many key decisions were made down there in total secrecy? Israel has now released an animated blueprint of Khamenei's underground war bunker, timing the reveal just days after announcing his killing. On March 6th, the IDF pushed out a detailed graphic walkthrough of the slain Ayatollah's secret wartime shelter, framing it as proof of how deeply he had dug in. The shelter, which Israel labels a secure emergency command center, was shown as sitting directly beneath central Tehran, under ordinary city streets. Israeli intelligence claims the complex spanned multiple streets and included numerous hidden entrances, corridors and meeting rooms for top-level briefings. In the animation, a lift and staircases drop several levels down to a hardened chamber lined with chairs and tables, laid out like a crisis war room. Israel argues that destroying this bunker further degrades Iran's command and control network, stripping away one of the regime's safest decision-making hubs. Iran's 86-year-old supreme leader Ali Khamenei was killed in Tehran during the very first wave of joint US-Israeli strikes on February 28, before he could fully fall back underground. Israel has boasted that Khamenei was eliminated before he could actually use the bunker he had prepared as his last resort hideout. On March 6, Israel says about 50 warplanes took part in a massive coordinated raid specifically to obliterate what remained of the bunker site. Released footage shows a blinding flash as bombs slam into the area, followed by huge towers of smoke and dust boiling up over Tehran's skyline. Israeli officials further claim that senior regime figures were still using parts of the compound even after Khamenei's death, making it a live target. The bunker video drops just as other reports suggest Russia has been feeding Iran intelligence on US assets in the Gulf, deepening the shadow war dimension. Analysts warn that the true scale of Moscow's intelligence sharing with Tehran remains unknown, raising questions over how both sides are targeting each other's nerve centers. At the same time, Iran fired on Ain al-Asad airbase and key Israeli missile defense radar sites on March 6, trying to hit back at the systems tracking its missiles. Tehran claims those attacks on Israel's defensive radar systems have severely weakened their shield, though that assertion has not been independently verified. In Washington, the White House press secretary countered by saying U.S. forces have already sunk more than 30 Iranian vessels in the fighting. Caroline Leavitt insisted that Iranian ballistic missile launches against Israel and U.S. sites are down 90%, presenting the campaign as firmly under control. On March 7, Iran issued a rare apology to its Gulf neighbors after days of missile volleys shook the wider Middle East and rattled regional capitals. President Masoud Pezeshkian specifically apologized to neighboring states that had been hit or overflown by missiles since the February 28 escalation. He said the Interim Leadership Council has now agreed on a new red line to govern future launches, tightening when Iran's missiles can be fired. Pezeshkian declared that from now on, no missiles will be fired at neighboring countries unless an attack is launched from their soil, a pledge clearly aimed at calming the region.
The idea that we want to unconditionally surrender, they must take such a dream with them to the grave. We have no intention of transgressing into neighboring countries. As I have said many times, they are our brothers. We must join hands with these dear ones in the region to establish peace and tranquility. And I hope that the events that have taken place and the decision we made yesterday in our temporary leadership council, this decision has been reported to the armed forces that from now on they should not attack neighboring countries or fire missiles unless those countries want to attack us, and I think we should resolve this through diplomacy so that we don't face problems by fighting with neighboring countries. What we are committed to is international law, human frameworks, and the principles that they talk about should fundamentally adhere to those and respect the rights of all countries, and naturally, they have no right to disregard Iran. I'm sending this message to neighboring countries, where some groups or factions are thinking of using this opportunity to attack our territory. You better not become pawns of imperialism. We may have disagreements, we may have grievances, but right now, supporting Israel, which is committing genocide, and the United States, which is bullying, their presence is forever a source of shame and disgrace. I don't know how to say it. Being pawns of colonialists is terrible for those who think they can achieve freedom and dignity. From here, I need to apologize to neighboring countries that are attacked by Iran on my behalf, because we went through this process with circumstances that occurred. Our commanders, our leader, our dear ones, in reality, lost their lives because of the brutal invasion, and our armed forces, our heroes, who sacrificed their lives and put their lives in their hands to defend our territorial integrity. When the commanders were gone, they had freedom of fire and carried out all the necessary actions, defending our land with dignity and power. The innocent and wronged students who were martyred by bombings and the process that unfortunately exists where they bomb wherever they please without regard for all international laws, and they do not refrain from targeting schools, hospitals, and various centers in the country when they do these things.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.